What's up, YouTube? You guys already know who it is. Sports God, Josh Cribbs, where we talk sports like religion. If you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Share the content. Jump in the comments. Let's get it cracking. Yes, sir. What's good with you, brother?
What's up, baby? I'm grateful that I get to talk sports. I'm ready. It's exciting. There was some wins and some losses. Let's get going, baby. Let's get it going.
Hey, man, well, listen, I'm bringing out the broom off the early part of the show because your boy went 4-0.
Now
I want
you
to run
got to
that.
start picking them. Now you got to start picking the games, and you're ready for Vegas. You're ready for the Vegas show. I'm ready, man. Like,
So,
you 4-0.
yes, sir. So we're going to load up the jet, man. Get a, nice little something chilled on the rocks,
Yeah,
man, and
there
fly
you go.
on out there.
And win some money. Let's hear it, man. 4-0. Let's hear it.
All right, so listen, man. First up was the Baltimore Ravens. First of all, before I even get into that real quick, man, the acquisition they just made, at the free agent deadline, man, with Roquan Smith is going to be major and be huge for those guys. The tackling machine, quarterback in the middle. Yeah, man, so they did.
I'm upset about that, though, because I think the Browns could have used him significantly. However, I didn't want to do it at the expense of Kareem Hunt at all. Why give up talent to acquire talent when you have draft capital? We have the team right now to win, so I'm like, go get him. And when our opponent, our rivals, one of our rivals, our AFC North Division rivals, not Pittsburgh, not Cincinnati, but Baltimore, who's number one right now in the division, they just added a huge piece to their defense, which was lacking. I think now that's a huge missing piece that's going to elevate that Ravens defense.
Yes, sir. I totally agree. And they went in Tampa last week and took care of business. Lamar Jackson outshined Tom Brady. And so I definitely had the Ravens winning that game. What did you think about that game?
I think that the more Lamar Jackson plays, he's making the Ravens organization have to really come up off that money. Because remember, he's in a contract year. Absolutely. He's in a contract year, and he's representing himself. So every game that he proves that he's worth a $250 million or more guaranteed contract, whenever he wins a big game, I can hear the money signs going off in his head. Cha-ching. It's like almost like a cartoon. His eyes turn into money signs. Because when he has games like that against the GOAT, who we can say we know Tom Brady is the GOAT. However, we definitely know that the climax of his season of his career has passed. However, he's still an elite quarterback. He's topping the league this year. But that win was huge, not just for the Ravens, but Lamar and his contract talks.
Absolutely. I totally agree, man. Moving to the next game, I had my Commanders versus the Colts, baby.
That's not fair.
And listen, man, my man, Taylor, the Heineke man.
Heineke.
Hey, he threw it up on the backside to Terry McLaurin, and Terry McLaurin, he basically went up against Gilmore, which is the Colts' best cornerback, and snatched that fade route, back shoulder fade route out of that man's hand at the one, and Taylor set it up with the 1 yard run to go ahead 17-16. I mean, what more can I say? Right now, Taylor Heineke is undefeated underneath center right now.
Yeah, and I think, I'm in agreement with them. However, it can be a Jekyll and Hyde performance from that Commander team. And I got to bring you back to a couple weeks ago. You said you can't command that team, but they're starting to show promise. They're starting to win the games that people have counted them out on. And
absolutely.
Then in a game like that, you look at quarterback, you look at the Indianapolis Colts, who was supposed to have a good team, and Matt Ryan, or their company, they're supposed to have Pittman. I have Pittman on my fantasy squad. They're supposed to have one of the top elite running backs in Jonathan Taylor, who hasn't been really doing himself any justice, hasn't been finding the end zone that much or huge yardage football games. So it's more so, in my opinion, what the Indianapolis Colts didn't do than what the Commanders did do. However, my head goes off to the Commanders. Keep winning, baby.
Yes, sir. That front four is really tough up there in Washington, D.C. Believe that. Next up, man,
Absolutely.
I had the Seattle Seahawks and Mr. Geno, who continues to impress through 2
Geno.
touchdowns. And, yeah, man, they handled business against the then 6-1 New York Giants, Josh. What was your analysis of that game?
I think I picked the New York Giants to come and win because they were hot.
Yes.
You know, but now we see Geno is hotter. Now
Yes,
we
sir.
see that the Seahawks mean business. They're not a pretend team. Geno, his throwing ability has, I think, superseded what a lot of people thought he was capable of. Because remember during free agency when they lost Russell Wilson, everybody thought, the football world thought that Seattle was going to be in the quarterback market. They just knew, and I thought so too. We all just thought, hey, Geno ain't it. Because if he was it, he would be over Russell. But that wasn't so. But Pete Carroll, he was just like, hey, Geno's my guy. And the whole football world was like, okay. And look where it has landed this football team. They're a complete different football team. Geno is really on his P's and Q's. I can't stress his accuracy and the type of balls that he's throwing, 20 seconds, the type of the type of spiral that he's putting on, his accuracy, everything is on point for him. I wish him nothing but success, and I'm gonna continue to root for him now. Now my expectations of Seahawks, now it's more so, hey, they're going to win as opposed to it's shaky, because I think they can do it, and they're led by Geno.
Absolutely, absolutely. Pete Carroll, vote of confidence, and Geno gave Geno a vote of confidence as well, man. His teammates believe in him. So shout out to the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, and look, real quick though, he's actually elevating all the receivers. He has a huge a plethora of receivers in Lockett, Metcalf. Those guys are starting to come back into fantasy leaders as well. He's getting them the football, so that may come up, for the fantasy section as well later on. But go ahead, my fault.
Absolutely, man. And then last but not least, it was the Buffalo Bills beating Green Bay, which was an obvious one. And they were blowing the doors off of Green Bay, but then Josh Allen threw a couple of picks and kind of made the game a lot closer than it should have been. But that completed my clean sweep. What did you think about that game last week?
I think, when you're talking about Buffalo Bills, they're in the league of their own right now. They're the top of the league. So there's not many teams that's going to give them problems. However, when you talk about the Green Bay Packers, who've been traditionally a contender every year. They've been traditionally a contender, but led by Devontae, or should I say Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Aaron Rodgers no longer has a Devontae Adams, and he can't find a substitute for that. So his quarterback play has substantially decreased because he doesn't have the go-to receiver. And his running backs, they haven't been giving them the ball enough to be that two-headed monster that they was foretold to have in Green Bay with Aaron Jones and who's the other
Dillon.
Dillon. So they're lacking in fantasy. So they have, highlights here and there fantasy-wise, but as a team, the Green Bay Packers are in trouble.
They're definitely in trouble. I agree. And to touch on the game tonight, man, because I have this guy, I'm starting him tonight versus the Houston Texans, and that's Jalen Hurts for my quarterback. And I see a big fantasy night for him. But is this a tough letdown spot for the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles headed into Houston, Texas? What do you think?
That's a good analysis. This may be a trap game for the undefeated Eagles, Philadelphia Eagles, because it's already rated that they're the favorites. It's already rated that, hey, the Houston Texans shouldn't be in the same stadium as the 6-0 and 7-0 Philadelphia Eagles, who've broken records and first team to do it in over a decade, over 20 years, to be that undefeated. This is a trap opportunity that they have to combat. They have to look at themselves as a team and continue to take it week by week. Jalen Hurts, similar to Geno, has been outperforming what people thought he was capable of.
Absolutely.
We know that he has the athletic ability, but we didn't expect to see it on this level so soon in his career. But Jalen Hurts, you're saying you have the opportunity to start him this weekend. I'm surprised you were able to even acquire him because he's on fire, if not more than Geno. So I'm taking tonight. I don't think they will get caught up in the trap game. However, I threw it out there because Houston comes to play. It's tough to win in the National Football League regardless. But the way that the Eagles are playing, it'll be a huge letdown if they let the Houston Texans come out there and embarrass them, undefeated as they are, with all that talent. Goddard is playing well. The defense is playing lights out. And to have those running backs switching, they got a running back committee that's playing well, led by Jalen Hurts, who keeps the chain moving every time he can with his feet, with his athletic ability, with his accurate and on-time passes. Man, I think it's going to be an exciting game. It might, the way it should go, it might be boring with the Eagles just dominating this Houston Texans team, but any given Sunday, man. But it's Thursday. That's the only problem with that. We say any given Sunday,
yes, sir.
It's Thursday, and you don't know what's going to happen.
And you're absolutely right. You can't forget about A.J. Brown, man. He's a big acquisition, man.
3 touchdowns.
He's been performing big time.
But a lot of people, he deserves that credit because the ball was thrown to him and he caught it. It wasn't like, they weren't miraculous catches that one hand at the last, they were very good catches. They were contested, but they were throws. Even better throws. The throws were on the money. Yes, so, these quarterbacks have stepped their games up. There's a lot of guys who stepped their games up. Jalen Hurts is at the top of that list.
Top of that list for sure. Next up, man, I got to talk about my Commanders. And guess who is coming to town?
Man.
Oh, Captain Kirk. You like that?
Oh, my God.
He is coming to FedEx Field, man. I think the energy in that building is going to be fantastic. There are some fans that are going to be upset with Kirk Cousins and want to try to rattle Kirk Cousins. I think the defense shows up big time and take down the 6-1 Vikings. They are a beatable team, but they have won close games. And I just believe the Commanders will take this game, Josh. What do you think about this game?
Oh, man. It's going to be tough. They have a lot to prove. This is one of those games that I think they can't beat themselves. Heineke he can't turn the ball over. They have to establish a run game, which opens up the passing game. This is going to be a battle because, in my opinion, Sports God, I know you've been answering. You went 4-0 last week. I think the Minnesota Vikings will have their number. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. I think it's going to be one of those games that's going to come down to a drive or two, and it may come down to the running game. And don't forget the Minnesota Vikings have Dalvin Cook, and he's been a pretty good runner, although he hasn't been, the elite, playing at the elite levels and getting all the touchdowns and yards in past years. However, he still has something in the tank that the Commanders have to wrap up and dominate early to make Kirk Cousins have a bad game. But I don't know. I'm going to ride with you on this because you've been right so far. And I'm from D.C., which I got tatted on me. So Commanders beat the Minnesota Vikings 27-24 at home.
27-24.
That's my prediction. I know we usually don't give a score, but 27-24, because I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to come down to a drive or two. Commanders going to win by a field goal.
Absolutely. Good stuff, Josh. Good stuff, man. And then I got the Bucks and the Rams. 3-5 Bucks, 3-4 Rams. At the beginning of the season, these two teams were at the top of the list. Obviously, the Rams being the defending Super Bowl champions. And the GOAT Brady with the Bucks are always going to be a top pick. But they haven't performed well this season. They have both underperformed. In this game here, going to that SoFi Stadium there in LA, I think that the Rams beat Tampa Bay and they fall to 3-6. What do you say about that one, Josh? If the GOAT and the Bucks fall to 3-6, what are their chances to make it to the playoffs?
You know what? The chances are slim. Mathematically, every loss makes it harder for any team to get to the show, to get to the playoffs. However, it's going to be tough to see the GOAT, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, to lose 2 big games back to back. He's coming off a divorce, so
Yes, sir.
that is a great excuse for him to have. His personal life is in somewhat of turmoil. The team isn't playing good right now. It may be time for the GOAT to make a smooth exit off of the NFL stage. This game may solidify that, because if Tom Brady doesn't pull off a win here and they fall, it's going to be tough for them to rebound. And I don't see Tom Brady returning after an unsuccessful playoff year. So I pick the Rams, the LA Rams at home, who are a better football team, who have been playing better, to beat the lowly Tampa Bay Buccaneers, whose quarterback is coming off a divorce. They're not playing good. They've fallen injury. I just don't see how they pick it up. They're capable. They have talent, but it ain't showing up in the film yet, and definitely not in the win column. So I think it's going to be a tough game.
It definitely hasn't showed up in the win column. One thing we all know about the GOAT, Tom Brady, obviously being a 6th-round draft pick and winning his amount of Super Bowls, 7 Super Bowl rings as he did. I want to say, on the flip side of his divorce and things that you mentioned, could this be something that ignites him and the whole roster? Do you see a Brady that is used to certain kind of scrutiny or criticism when it comes to or people that couldn't believe in, you know, him as a talent coming out of Michigan? Will this be the game?
I hear you, and that's very well possible. But we haven't seen it yet.
We haven't seen it.
We haven't had any inklings or any hints of it. I would love to come back on here next week and say, man, he must have been showing somebody something. He must have heard all the cry for help. He must have heard all the shenanigans, the people talking bad about him, and he responded like the GOAT he is. That's what I want to say next week. But this week, we're going to go off of what you already showed us. And that's not good. And that's not good.
That's not good at all. And in the last game I got coming up, we obviously was just talking about the Seattle Seahawks, man. They're playing against the Arizona Cardinals, and the Cardinals are at home. Mr. Kyler Murray, man, you know, I also have a player that I'm going to put in for my fantasy, which is Kenneth Walker, for the rookie for the Seattle Seahawks, who has been tearing it up since he became a starter for them. Now, the thing is this.
Kenneth Walker?
Yeah, Kenneth Walker is a beast on fantasy. I don't have him on my team per se, but this is one of my picks. So for those fantasy players, if you have him, I'm sure you already got him in your starting lineup. But if you don't, make sure you get him. I doubt if he's out there as a free agent, because he is a beast. But I'm taking the Cardinals in this game. Now, mind you, we just mentioned that Geno Smith and Pete Carroll and the company have been on fire. They have proven to be a legit team in the NFC and in the NFL period. But this is the 3rd game back for D. Hopkins. You can see the chemistry with Kyler and D. Hopkins. You can see open receivers becoming available, tight ends and running lanes are becoming available, all because the offense has shifted. Obviously, Kyler Murray is a dual threat quarterback and an amazing weapon in this NFL. But I just believe that at home, I feel like they got their swagger back, man. And I think they take down their division foe, Seattle Seahawks. How do you see this one playing out, Josh?
You know what? It's funny. I almost want to put my eggs in a basket with the Seattle Seahawks, because I have Kyler Murray on my fantasy, and he's not putting up the numbers. He's not doing, and he's not doing it in a way that's congruent with wins for his football team. They're garbage points. They're points that he's gaining when they're down and trying to come back. He hasn't played and evolved into that elite quarterback that I've known him to be. So they're struggling in my mind right now. You mentioned D Hop coming back. That he only played 1 game. He's a little rusty. And so I'm not sure he's at full tilt right now in the the essence that they have, that relationship that they have throwing the football takes a little bit. So I don't think it's quite there yet. However, they do have the squad to beat Geno and company. But Geno and them on fire. It's going to be a great game for
Yes,
me.
sir.
For me, it could go either way. I think Kyler Murray is a better quarterback all around, but not by much. Geno has been balling. It's just when you look at the both quarterbacks, you know that Kyler Murray has more of a rap sheet. He's been there and done that. He's been in the tough games. He's lost the tough games, but he's also won some along the way. So I could give it to the Arizona Cardinals just because of experience over up-and-coming superstar that Geno Smith is. So I'm with you. I'm riding with you, especially because Arizona's at home. It's a division opponent, and they have been there. They've done that. They beat the Seattle Seahawks.
My man. Oh, last week, by the way, man, 12 catches for 159 for D-Hop.
Ooh, so I guess he wasn't too rusty.
Fantasy owners definitely need to grab that man. And another note about D. Hopkins in the first game.
12 catches?
12 catches for 159.
I might have to grab him. Oh,
and then against the Saints, he went for 10 catches for 103. So he's back. He's definitely back.
I take everything I said back.
All right, man. So listen, man, low-key fantasy picks. I spoke about my quarterback, Jalen Hurts. I'm starting him on my personal team tonight versus the Houston Texans. I think he continues to roll, continues to be the dual threat quarterback he has been thus far this season. So I'm rolling with him. Running back, I just mentioned Kenneth Walker for Seattle. I think he gets a lot of totes tonight.
I'm interested to see that. I'm going to be watching this game looking for Kenneth Walker. A lot of times with the young guys, they have a good game or two and then they disappear. So I'm going to look for him to show me now what he's already shown you.
Yes, sir.
Showing me his consistency, I believe, because my eye wasn't on him. I wasn't looking for him as a player. So I'm going to be looking at that game just to watch him.
Absolutely. And then for my receiver, man, I got Devontae Adams, man. He needs to have a big game for Derek Carr. And Las Vegas need this win, period.
They put together quite a team, and they're underperforming. But I think I may have said this a while back. Derek Carr is not the quarterback for Las Vegas. He's just not, in my opinion, because it was rumors of him coming to Cleveland. And to me,
rumors of him coming to the Commanders as well.
And to me, he's just okay. I don't think he's the it factor. I think he's a quarterback that requires a lot of talent surrounding him. And I don't think they have the elite talent around him at the running back position to open up Darren Waller, to open up Devontae Adams. So they've been challenging them. And then their offensive scheme doesn't fit the talent that they have. So it starts with Derek Carr, but it also is what the play calling is around him. Again, it's tough sledding for those guys. They need to win, so I can understand your pick because they need to utilize him in order to give themselves the best chance to win. And it'll have to flow through Devontae Adams, like you said.
Absolutely. Tight end, I got Mark Andrews, man. They play Monday night versus the New Orleans Saints up in the Big Easy is what they call it, right? Hey, man.
That's not an underrated pick for me. That's not an underrated pick for me at all. Mark Andrews, the only reason it may be underrated because he's battling a shoulder injury. He left last game a little early, and the coaches been the journalists and news reporters have been grilling the coaches to trying to find out if he's going to play, if he's injured. They said they assured everybody it's no big deal. I have him in my fantasy, so I was worried. I'm like, dang, I got to pick up a tight end. He gets a lot of points. However, it may affect his target share because he's injured. It's not uncommon for a coordinator to give him a rest in target shares. However, that's not going to stop Lamar Jackson from going to his favorite receiver. So I think he plays well. I think he pushes through, and I think he still has one of those top scoring games.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And last but not least, man, as far as the defense go, now we spoke about this game earlier, and I'm telling you, They're top team against the rush. They're moving up the ladder against the pass. I think top three when it comes to getting off the field on third down, which we used to be atrocious. I'm taking my Washington Commanders versus the Minnesota Vikings. I believe they turned Kirk Cousins into what he was with the Washington Redskins, which was a turnover machine, a consistent quarterback.
I think it's some vendetta you got here, because you're hoping that he sucks like he did when he played for the Commanders and giving up a lot of sacks, which is in turn a lot of fantasy points for an opposing defense.
Absolutely.
So you're hoping for something like that.
He's game for one pick for sure. He is game for it. I think Montez Sweat, Allen, and Payne get after him. That front four, we don't really have to blitz, because lately that front four has been pushing the pack back. Kirk Cousins is not a mobile quarterback, though he will run. I believe we get to him a few times and cause Mr. Kirk Cousins to throw a pick or so. And I think the Commanders' defense hold the Vikings to a respectable amount of points. I think your prediction was 27-24. I believe they hold Minnesota under that total that you mentioned earlier.
For me, I honestly believe that they have a lot of weapons. Now, is their top receiver Jefferson, is he still playing? Is he injured?
No, Justin Jefferson is going to play. He's going to ball.
So he's playing.
Yes.
So they also have an elite running back that's still, moving to his prime. So that's my problem when I look at, how close this game will be. And, if the defense that you're saying is going to put up huge numbers,
yes, sir.
I think that it will be counteracted or swapped with production from those elite guys. I think, yes, Cousins will turn the ball over. The Commanders will get sacks, but I think that they will score points. And with that production of the Commanders defense, they will score to offset that. And then I think they'll get big games to offset some of those sacks. Cook will score, or a lucky run here, or a screen here. So it's going to be tough for the Commanders to bottle up all the talent that the Minnesota Vikings will have on the football field, despite having a good game versus Kirk Cousins. And I mean a good game. I think he will turn the ball over at least twice. I think he will get sacked at least 3 times. However, I feel like they're going to continue to score. They're going to answer every other drive with a huge pass, field goal, maybe a touchdown, Jefferson, and some good running by Dalvin Cook. So I think that's going to be the problem for the Commanders defense, to try to bottle up that talent, despite having, Kirk Cousins that they're trying to pound every single series.
Good stuff, Josh. Good stuff, man. It's always a pleasure week to week to get on the show and talk sports, things that we grew up doing, and obviously play. You played at the highest level, and to be able to sit back and talk about sports, man, it's a wonderful thing, man.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir, man. So listen, YouTube, you guys already know what it is, man. Make sure y'all hit that like and hit that notification bell. Sports God TV, Josh Cribbs, where we talk sports like religion. And then we out until the next time.